So Simon, here you can see our partners in this industrial metaverse, virtual battery cell production.
Yes.
And you can see the results, what we brought together in a very short time to get all the data into this metaverse. And if you see how many data, which this detail create and which information and process information is included in this data model, I guess 2 years before it was not possible to do something. But now with this industrial metaverse, it's possible to get such a view and a model of a production with this detailed information, which helps dramatically to increase the value, the maturity of the planning, and for sure then the ramp up of a plant. So I guess that is essential to bring European partners together in one production. It's incredible. Then you can see that we not only have one part of tool set up, there are different parts of tool set up that different technologies could be used. The basic layout was developed by our team because that's our vision, how an assembly plant or a battery production plant should look like.
Yes.
And then the partners give the process equipment in and the processes in. So that means we have there a database with all the possible processes, with the best layout which is possible from our point of view to make a European ecosystem production line for cell production.
So, thank you, Matthias and Anselm, for taking your time and inviting me here to EDAG in Fulda.
Welcome in Fulda, yeah.
It's really a pleasure to see your company and all the innovation that you're pushing forward to help us building the European battery ecosystem. I want to talk with you about platforms today and digital twins.
Yes, that's good.
But before we come to that, let's have a casual chat on how you guys found into the field of e-mobility.
Yeah, then I start from the basic. I'm a petrol head.
Okay.
I always loved big V8 engines, combustion engines.
Right.
But by my profession, by what we did in the last 15 years in battery projects, I came closer and closer to the EVs.
Okay.
So, and some years ago, I said, no, I drive a V8 until I gave my license away. But nowadays, I like the driving pleasure and for sure the sustainability of EVs. So I switched in my mind in the meantime.
Yeah. To be fair, you're not the first who gives the answer. I think there are many car enthusiasts who switch finally to EVs because they see that the performance is just better.
Yeah, the driving pleasure is amazing.
You know, we're sitting in the driving video podcast studio here, right?
Yeah.
It's a 3.5 ton vehicle, battery powered, of course. But this thing drives like a sports car. I really can say that.
Yeah.
Because the center of gravity is really low, even though this is almost 3 meters high, because of the big battery pack, right? So yeah. How about you, Anselm?
Yeah, for me, it was not the electric car and the e-mobility. It was more or less the transition of the energy to renewable energies, because we see that there is a big loss of energy storage, and that was the intrinsic motivation I had to work in that area. The electric car is a component of this transition in the energy. So yeah, that was the possibility, and Europe looks on the EVs, which is great and which is the first market. But my intrinsic motivation, as I said, is the renewable energies, because I think that's very important for Germany and Europe as well. It would reduce the costs of energy, and that would be a good point for the higher industrialization.
Let's have a look at what value EDAG brings to the field of battery innovation. I learned from you, Anselm, that you're developing a platform right now, and Matthias, you showed me already around and introduced me to a couple of details about this innovation. I'm very curious to deepen our discussion on that. But let's first off jump into the business of EDAG, what you generally do, and then we segue over to the platform that you're currently building up.
We are more than 50 years on the market engineering service supplier, came out of mobility. So now we serve industry and public solutions as well. And for sure, we also IT focused.
Yeah.
So, and I guess we call our slogan is, we are the digital integrator of the things of tomorrow. So that means EV and electric ecosystem and a European ecosystem for battery production is thing of the future.
Mhm.
So, and since we in the business, we focus always on, let's say it like this, innovations, digital innovations.
Mhm.
Since many years, we work with, for example, virtual commissioning of projects. We work with digital twins.
Mhm.
We always integrate our process know-how or process knowledge from the field in the production with our, let's say, digital possibilities to make the development of production systems more efficient. So that's where we come from.
Mhm. All right. So more specifically on batteries now, you came up with a solution that is not just a technical development, but you mentioned the word ecosystem already, something more. Can you introduce us to the idea and the vision that you're following right now?
The vision is that we be the integrator
Mhm.
of this European ecosystems. There are so many suppliers which developed in the meantime solutions which are very great to bring us in the position to make cell production in Europe
Mhm.
with, let's say, sustainable efficiency, because we have to be efficient. We have to be, let's say,
From an entrepreneurial point of view, you
yes,
mean, right?
for sure, yes,
Yes.
to stay in the market, to be compatible to all the competitors out of Korea or China, for example.
Yes.
So to focus on this, we try to brought them all together.
Mhm.
And we see as a very, very important support in this the industrial metaverse.
Mhm.
We started to bring all our digital twins in our, let's say, production systems from product over the production to the, let's say, end of line, the digital twins into the industrial metaverse. And we invited a lot of potential suppliers here in Europe to be part of this.
Mhm.
And we set up, based on our knowledge, which we developed in the last 3-4 years in projects, which we did with our customers.
Mhm.
And with this knowledge, we developed our, let's say, blueprint for the best way to manufacturing cells.
Mhm.
So, and then we invited a lot of suppliers to bring their technologies in. And that's what we do right now, based on industrial metaverse with the original data, processes, technology, innovations from a big set of suppliers, brought this together to validate possible solutions to make cell production in Europe happen.
Okay. Okay. So, to summarize this, you're building a platform based on the newest technological innovations in terms of a metaverse.
Yes.
So, which is basically a platform that aggregates a bunch of information, like pure data, but also visual information. So, CAD drawings, etc., to assemble a model that really resembles the whole battery production facility as such, correct?
That's correct. And on top of this, we are able with simulations to validate the processes
Mhm.
which are in this model. So
Mhm.
that means we reach a very major pre-engineering process before we go into the detailed engineering or before we go in ramp up of factories.
Mhm. So, is this a platform that is open to everyone?
The platform is open to everyone.
Yes.
We are an independent engineering supplier, and
Mhm.
we will stay independent. So
Yes.
that means we bring the best together to create the maximum volume for our final customer, let's in the end.
Mhm. So, as the driving force behind this, I think, Anselm, you're in the procurement of many companies, and to have also the professional discussions with them, how these models of those companies can be included. Can you elaborate how this process runs? So how, are you approaching companies? Are the companies approaching you? What is the granularity of detail that you require in order to get companies on board? Can you explain this in a couple of words?
I will try. So I think it was very difficult to get the trust to all the line builders. So that was the beginning of the work. So we started to show that we have experts, we have people who are interested, and we showed, and that was very important for me because Matthias was very keen to do that, and he showed that EDAG wants to do to go to the business of battery cell manufacturing. And that was very important. And so we built up the trust to the line builders, but also to the battery OEMs and things. We had a lot of chats, we had a lot of projects, we have a lot of experience, and we collected that all in a special group where we had the experts and we qualified them. And after that, we started with the blueprints. And the next step was we just
So just to get the size and the magnitude of this project, when did you start? What is the size of the team, if you can give us an estimation? So because this is not a small project, as I understand. This is
No.
like massive, I would even
The
say.
result is massive. The result is massive, but we work very efficient in this project as well.
So
Okay.
it's funny because 3 years ago I had a very long and a very deep chat to Matthias, and didn't know what comes up, but we had a vision at that chat. It was just a telephone call. I think you were in the car when I remember right. Could be possible. We talked about it. We had that vision, what we have to do, and we started the vision because we were both, I can say that we was absolutely convinced that that is the way to do, and we had the vision. We always have the same vision in our strategy documents. It never changed, and we just started to work step by step, and it was very fast. We had a whole group of people, starting with 10 experts, I would say. Then we had a team which are working on the shop floor. It was in the end over 50 people which are working really in the cell manufacturing, on the shop floor, on the machines. We have process owners. We have a big team in Poland, and here it's called Feinzin, who is helping with an integration in the metaverse. It's making the IT. So I would say around about more than 100 people are worked in the last 2 or 3 years in that area.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was really, and then we decided. So now you said we have this how do we call that in English?
Valley.
The valley in the moment. And
Yeah.
then what's the idea? What can we do? So just do it like a lot of other people.
Just
do
stick
duck
your
down.
head in the sand and just shut up.
We did
Shut off.
together with our management a strategic decision that we go ahead with battery cell production,
Yeah, okay.
not stopping the business because of the gap we have at the moment.
And I think this is where we all three of us, and also including your whole team, are all in the same boat, because we are not accepting this economic drought right now, but we're pushing through because the vision is clear. We need the battery ecosystem, we need the battery industry for that, we need the production know-how. And yeah, so that's why I'm so thrilled on supporting you, on communicating that message to our field that hey, we have finally like a platform for building this ecosystem. It was a strategic decision, as I understand, to actively push through this valley.
Yes.
Because the vision is clear. We are building up this battery ecosystem, this European battery ecosystem, and we need to be ready when the economy picks up again. And companies and battery producers are willing to take orders and also to build our plants and to do the investments. So I would like to you reflect on this situation that we are in right now and how you are maneuvering this.
Yeah, it's hard to maneuvering this right now, but our main target is to develop solutions that if we ramp up business then, that we have solutions which create value and bring, let's say, the cell manufacturers in the position to make, let's say, economically good and, let's say, competitive products and solutions. So that's what we want to support, because we have to be in the competition and we have to be on the first place for sure.
In the global picture or on the European market, what do you foresee?
Yeah, firstly, we focus on the European market because the global picture is part of the problem, I guess. So I guess we want to be independent. Yes, for sure. There are a lot of, let's say, efficient and for lower money available cells out of the global market, but partly it's important to be independent. So therefore we need solutions to be with special products. Don't know if it is the mainstream products, but anyhow, we have to create products and production systems to be in the competition for, let's say, the needs, because the products for the end customer, is it a car or is it for the energy storage, has also be, let's say, payable, let's end finally.
Furthermore, did you recognize how many cells in your daily life around you? Starting with your cell phone in the morning, looking on your toothbrush, on your shaver, whatever, in the kitchen, power tool, in your garden, and they are everywhere. and we just want to source them always from China, Korea, Japan. I think that it's very difficult to get competitiveness as European company if you are sourcing one of the cost driving components in every product. And I think that is there are two techniques which are in every component or a lot of products in our daily life, and that are chips and battery cells. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And now with the EV market and e-mobility, the volume that is required is increasingly picking up, and that's why it's so valuable to have sound solutions on the manufacturing side, so that we can build facilities that are not just productive and economically efficient, but also sustainable, and with regard to the European Battery Pass, for example, and the regulations that are put up, are in line with sustainable development of this industry. And having the digital twin is the opportunity to get knowledge and know-how about the whole production chain, of the whole value chain, on the mainstream, but also all with the side streams and waste that is generated unavoidably, of course. But we have to deal with this. We have to create knowledge about this. And this is where you inspired me with this holistic approach to have a professional exchange about this, and also to have a collaboration going that helps with your solution together building this ecosystem.
Yeah, and this digital twin and this data model behind it. It's not only the, let's say, the geometrics, it's the processes, it's the data model, it's the quality assurance systems that ensures faster ramp-ups, better quality, less scrap. So that's important to be, let's say, right in the market and for reasonable prices in the market.
So let's shine light on how a company can get on board from a technical perspective. So if I'm a machine supplier or a measurement technology company, or even some digital solution provider, how do I get into contact with you? What are the steps that we go through in order to be part of this ecosystem?
Go ahead.
So in the first round, we started to ask everybody and tell the line builders and the component suppliers that we have that idea, and we built up a factory and a product, which was just an example how it looked like. It was just a factory with a product. And we said, do you want to be part of it? And then we had kind of discussion, why is our ecosystem different to the others? And we said, we are independent. We have 5 different mixing systems in our metaverse, for example. So that is kind of a platform where you can show what are you able to, what are your USPs, why are you better than maybe some Asian supplier, what is the difference? And they said, oh, that's a good idea. And the second thing was that you should have open technologies. PSL manufacturer, they want to choose the technology for manufacturing the cells. That was always very important, what we learned the last 2 years.
They want to have the opportunity to also engineer
cherry
their
picking.
plans. I was recently, maybe to put give an anecdote really quick. I was with Stefan Permin, the CEO of Universal, cell manufacturer from North Germany, right? And I learned from them how they are developing their own process. Yes, they are sourcing machines from everywhere, also from Korea, as I learned, but also from Germany. But the key thing they wanted to have is access to the HMI, to the controllers of those machines, to be able to design their own manufacturing process. And this is the key asset for them, that they build up this internal know-how. So I think this is perfectly in line what you say there. So yeah, please go ahead.
So that was the conversation we had with the line builders, and the most of them said that's an absolutely great idea. What have we to do? And we said, okay, we have some couple of questions, and that was typical Excel. Sorry for that, but we're using that in that way. Had the question about the technical things, and it was very important to find a way how we can make them in a kind independent but vergleichbar. Sorry, comparable. That was very difficult, and so we started with them with the questions and figured out which are the same base and so that they are comparable. And the second one, we every time want to just have the CAD, but the outer things. We don't want to have the IPs or the processes of that machines. That was very important for the line builder, because the existing point of a line builder is exactly this knowledge about the process technologies.
Yeah.
Right. And
to put this, explain this real quick. So you need the general dimensions, you need the general appearance of the machines, of the plant, and you need the outside parameters. So the parameters the customer is later dealing with in setting up and designing the line. But what you don't want from the companies opting in is the internal know-how, how they actually come to those parameters.
Exactly.
Right? This is important to
Exactly.
note, because this gives the company the opportunity to show off on your platform,
Exactly.
but at the same time are not required to open up their IP to the European landscape, the ecosystem, but also, of course, beyond. Because let's face it, we are still a global market here, even though we are talking about the European battery ecosystem.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's very important to understand, because we are really thinking, that was the discussion we had a lot of, together we are strong. So if we are thinking we can do manufacturing process now, it's important. So that's experienced 60, 70 years in some companies. Some are having more than 100 years in that stuff. And we don't want to have that IP. We just want to be the glue between the line builders, to have a big ecosystem consortium which is working together to get efficiently and fast and cheap cells out of the production.
Gotcha. So, Matthias, I have a question to you that I am asking all the leaders of our field that are joining the podcast. This is a threefold question.
Threefold
On
question.
the
Okay.
challenges,
Yeah.
on the potential, and your advice. So, for the European battery ecosystem, to build this up, what is, from your perspective, in your professional area, the main challenge you are facing at the moment that hinders us from getting up on speed?
The main challenge. Oops. The main.
You can take your time to
Yeah,
consider.
yeah. The main challenge is to convince all, let's say, stakeholders in the system that we can be successful. And to make this possible, we have to create solutions which convince the people who wants to invest in this ecosystem. So that means we have to do previous work, pre-engineering, to ensure that the solutions have a chance to work in a way that we are competitive in the end.
Okay. So, positively speaking, right? We just talked about your solution, for example. What is the potential, the unique potential that you see in Europe, in our industry right now, that allows us to follow this dream, this vision, to build the European battery ecosystem and to be successful? So what is the potential that you see?
The potential is that we can create new products with our, let's say, knowledge which we have in Europe. The knowledge, that the potential is that we can go maybe different ways than the Chinese. We always say they are 10 or 15 years ahead of us. But if we rethink many things, if we make maybe disruptive engineering and solutions, then we maybe can find solutions which are better to go to the target.
All right. We have not Christmas yet, but I would still ask you on your wish, or let's put it more professionally, your advice that you would give to our industry. So what is your call to action?
The call to action is that we use what we have created with this platform. And I'm not talking about a platform of, let's say, all the team members or the participants in this platform, that we have this community. If I'm talking about a platform, I mean the industrial metaverse, this technical platform we have. We should use it because 2 or 3 years ago, we didn't have a chance to use it. And some of the companies failed in Europe. So now we have much more technology we can use. So that give us the position that we can better validate the systems, that we can have a faster ramp up. So and if we take all these tools and bring them together, then we can be successful. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So you're building this, as Anselm also put it, this glue between the different competences to make one uniform system. I would like even to say to build one team.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for this conversation, having me here visiting, and for the future joint collaboration with you.
Simon, thank you very much as well.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to invite you to here. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.